Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about Star Wars Battlefront right now.
Oh, good. Okay.
This is Lina, correct? From a senior producer at DICE?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is my game of show. That's a very prestigious award that I give out, I mean, pretty much, to only one game ever. I've only given it out to one game ever, and it's Star Wars Battlefront. So, James just got back from playing. James, what did you think?
I literally just walked back from playing.
Okay.
Is my hair standing up?
No.
Okay, so without tooting my own horn, I did take down both AT-ATs.
What?
I took down both of them in a snowspeeder.
Wow.
You did not.
I did. Both of
I
them.
don't believe
And
it.
I don't know if that's just because the rest of my team wasn't sure what was going on, but see,
Also-
he was there. But that was crazy. Like the whole experience. Like I'm a huge fan of the Battlefield franchise. I think we all are. Like we love that franchise and how it puts you in like the battlefield. To do it with Star Wars is insane, and it's not just a matter of replacing the sound effects. It's the whole thing, the whole atmosphere of the world. How did you guys get to this? How did you achieve this?
Well, there are a number of components that come together for us to be able to do what we do. But first and foremost, we have an amazing team at DICE. We have this pedigree of creating multiplayer that comes from Battlefield. But we also have an incredible access to Lucasfilm, and so we work very closely with them. We've been to the Lucasfilm archives at Skywalker Ranch, which is the hardest thing that I've ever had to do in my life, for work. Someone has to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
I took one for the team, and I went to Skywalker Ranch.
Nice job.
But what that enables us to do is to recreate these props and these assets from the original trilogy of movies in incredible detail. And to do that, we use technology called photogrammetry, which means that we photograph things from a variety of different angles, and we run them through software to create 3D models to be able to get them into the game. It's not magic, it takes a lot of talent and tech to do, but it basically means that the assets we have in-game are the original assets from the movies. And that coupled with the Frostbite engine that we run on and the technology, the talent of the team and things like physically based rendering, this means that we're able to get to the visual fidelity that you see. But then again, it's to the talent of our designers to create fun gameplay that really brings you into the action in the way that we do. For instance, in Walker Assault, which we've been showing you.
Now, the Battlefront franchise, obviously not created by DICE, Pandemic Studios had worked on it previously, is beloved by a lot of people, and it's almost nostalgic at this point. There are things that you guys have implemented, I noticed, like third person, and then melee combat via lightsaber. Were these things complicated or hard to implement, knowing DICE's background with mostly being first person?
I mean, we're huge fans of obviously we're huge Star Wars fans, but we're also fans of Battlefront, and we felt like it was, I feel like it's an incredible honor to be trusted to take this franchise forward. We, of course, I mean, it's been 2 generations of consoles since the original games. So while I think we're very true to the spirit of Battlefront, we're putting our own stamp as we reboot the series. And if you ask specifically about the third-person camera and the lightsaber combat, I mean, yes, there are challenges to do that. I mean, we're stepping outside of what we've done before with Battlefield. But then again, we don't want to put a Star Wars skin on Battlefield. We want to create something that's unique to the core, to Battlefront, and bring that forward.
So having been an original Battlefield fan for a very long time, been playing the franchise for as long as I can remember, how on the surface is this game versus a Battlefield game, which seems very in depth, and this game seems a little more easier to access, easier for the casual player. How did you sort of combine those two?
I think what we did is that we have a team that's comprised of people that are veterans of Battlefield and have been doing Battlefield for a long time, and then we have other people on the team like myself that haven't been on Battlefield. And I think that enables us to sort of, bring in the things from Battlefield that we want to be a part of the DNA, and then add another, another component to it that's, makes it different and makes it feel like its own thing. And I think, Star Wars is a franchise that's beloved by so many. So obviously we also want to make sure that we make it as widely appealing and as accessible as we can. so that as many people as possible can enjoy it.
Well, I have questions about heroes, James. I don't know if
About
you got
heroes?
to play any heroes yet.
I didn't see any heroes in our gameplay. I don't know if that's just people didn't spawn them in. That's something I actually was kind of getting used to. What you were saying about merging the existing Battlefront and the Battlefield franchises. It was interesting because I was expecting to spawn in, see like an open X-wing, and then just hop right into it. But it looks like you have to activate things, which then cause like spawn points to appear on the map, and then it brings it in a lot more naturally into the battle. I just how does the heroes thing work into it?
It works in such a way, both the heroes and the vehicles and, specifically, very powerful weapons are power-ups that you find on the map. And they spawn according to the rules of the mode and the balance that we have. But it also means that, anyone can become a hero just based on finding the power-up. You don't need to, have a kill streak or anything like that. And the same goes for the vehicles as well. So, that's a different mechanic than, what you might be used to from Battlefield.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of questions just about going back to the heroes. Are they in first person, or can you switch between first and third person, or are they always third person? How does that work?
The heroes are always in third person, and that goes to the sort of the fantasy of becoming the hero. You want to see that hero. And,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are asking about sort of map design and how the games work. I know terms like levolution have been thrown out, things like that. I was reading online that depending on who's pushing each side, the map will change for either side. Is that true?
Battlefield is known for the levolution concept, which is, an incredibly dynamic destruction. We've gone a different route. So there is dynamism and destruction in the maps. And then we have, I don't know if you saw the Star Destroyer in the sky. So what we do is we bring in these external events to sort of wrap you in Star Wars and give more of a sense of an epic scale. So that's our take on it.
In terms of game modes, like I know there's Battlefield has Rush and Conquest and Obliteration. What kind of game modes do you have for Battlefront?
We have quite a lot of different game modes, all the way from 8-player tight infantry modes up to these modes like Walker Assault, which are 40-player modes with all of the flying vehicles and the walkers. So we have our twist on familiar and classic modes. But also, what we wanted to do with the game is to really, give players the ability to, live out their Star Wars battle fantasies. And, so if you want to dogfight, we have a mode called Fighter Squadron, which is all about dogfighting. If you want, this type of experience like Walker Assault, we have that. If you want to fight Jedi versus Jedi one-on-one, we have that in what we call hero battles. So there's, we have an enormous breadth in terms of the experience.
Great.
So obviously there's a pretty big Star Wars movie coming out this year.
What? Are you sure about that?
You didn't hear about it?
No.
And we've seen one of the maps, which I believe takes place in Jakku, one of the new planets. How was it working with a brand new? Because it's one thing to just do Hoth again. It's one thing to do the Battle of Yavin again. How much can we expect to see of the franchise as it moves forward in the Battlefront series?
So what's important to note is that Episode 7 takes place about 30 years after the events of the original trilogy of movies. So what we've done, and we've talked about before, is we have the Battle of Jakku. And if you recall the intro shots from the trailer, the last Force Awakens trailer, you see this desert planet, you see a crashed Star Destroyer, and you think, okay, so what happened? And what happened was that, shortly after the Battle of Endor, there was this big battle in space and on the surface of the planet of Jakku. And that battle is a battle that we're bringing to you as a free DLC on the 8th of December. For everyone who has Star Wars Battlefront, they will get that. And if they pre-order, they will get it even sooner on December 1st.
And that Battle of Jakku basically happened around the events of Return of the Jedi.
Yes, so it basically,
Gotcha.
it's in the same timeline as the original trilogy, and so that it, that makes it fit really well with what we're doing, in the same timeline.
I'm really excited about the co-op missions. That's one thing that I loved with Battlefield. In terms of the co-op missions, can you kind of tell us what fantasies we get to live out in the Star Wars universe for those missions?
What we've done with the co-op missions is that, what we want to give each of the co-op missions that we have, we want to give them unique gameplay flavors. So they will take place on the different planets that we have in the game, and depending on the environment, they will be very specific. So if you're an Endor, it's much more of a sort of stealth-based closed combat. If you're on Hoth, it's much more about long-range sniping, as an example. So it's more about sort of fantasies tailored to the different environment and the gameplay that it facilitates.
There's one thing I feel like you can't really talk about Battlefield without talking about some sort of unlock system and progression. I know you haven't talked a lot about it with Battlefront. Can you give us a little taste of what we'll be seeing in terms of unlock weapons or mostly just player skins, maybe hats?
Yeah, so we're not talking about it in great detail at this time, but the progression is tied to these cards that you see in the, to the right in the HUD. You see these, what we call them star cards, and they're the different equipment that you bring with you into the battle. So we don't have classes in the conventional sense, but rather we give you the ability to sort of combine these cards together in different ways, and as you progress, you get to access more of these cards, and then for the late game, the late game progression, you actually have the ability to play as an alien species, whether it's a Celestan or a Rhodian or whatever. So that's marks how far you've progressed.
Yeah, that was my next question, actually. In terms of species, you talked about Celestans and Rhodians. What other species can you give us a glimpse into? Maybe Wookiees? That's a Wookiees.
I can only comment on what we've already shown so far.
That's fine. Will I be able to build my own lightsaber?
Well, no.
I mean, in real life. I meant in real life, not in the game.
In his garage.
In real life, what you need to do to build your own lightsaber is to go on eBay. Members of my development team have done this. And you order really, really rare parts of camera equipment from the 50s.
The Greyflex. I know what it is.
Yes, and then you construct your own lightsaber. And I think we have at least 2 people on the development team that actually do this.
I like those guys.
Yes, I like them too.
Graphically, this Battlefield 4 is one of those games that just looks stunning. But when I was playing Battlefront, I was thinking what did you guys do to the engine to turn it into something that looks even more fluid, looks even more real, it really, really, really puts you in the battlefield? How did you guys tweak the engine to make it seem different but the same?
Frostbite, of course, is an incredibly powerful engine, and we've seen that. I mean, Frostbite is continuously being iterated upon. So we're running on the latest Frostbite version, but also one of the things that's a big thing is physically based rendering, which is a new rendering technology that gives us the ability to basically create assets in the way that no matter the lighting environment they're brought into, they look really, really great. They look real. And that Cobb talked about before with photogrammetry technology, of course, yields great result. But even if you have great technology and you have you have great engine and you have great access, the fact of the matter is that we have amazing engineers and amazing artists at DICE that are they're putting their heart and soul into making this look as good as it looks.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for right now.
I have one more question. Can I have it now? Give it to me now.
You can go back to the booth and play it now.
I will.
Yeah, for those who don't know, when can we check out the game and on which platforms?
The game will be released on November 17th on PC, Xbox One, and PS4.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. I can't wait to go get some hands-on with it. But thank you so much for stopping by.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.